Greetings, Tezos Nation. Welcome to another edition of TezTalks Live. I'm Stu from the Tezos Commons. Joining me today is Josh Dechant, aka CodeCrafting, founder of Focus.art and Crunchy and newly minted VP of Engineering at DNS. Focus.art, for those who might not know, is the digital art platform focused on catering to the needs of artists and creators within the Tezos NFT space. This project is a recent Tezos Commons Small Grants Program recipient and is expected to launch right here in the Tezos ecosystem in the very near future. On today's stream, we'll be giving away a Tezos branded Nano Ledger to one of our lucky viewers. If you'd like that lucky viewer to be you, keep an ear out for a keyword later on during the stream. And of course, if you have any questions for Josh that you'd like me to ask, please add them in the chat at any time, and we'll get to as many as we can before we wrap up. Hi, Josh. How are things in Rhode Island?
Hey, they're pretty good. It's finally trying to be spring here.
Right on. As a returning guest here on the TezTalks live stream, I won't ask you to tell us all the details of your career and journey into the Tezos ecosystem again, but can you give us the Reader's Digest version for those who might have missed your first appearance?
Sure. So I've been in engineering for over 20 years. I started in healthcare, did some work in online learning systems, universities, that kind of thing. I got involved in crypto puzzle hunts, and that kind of brought me into blockchain, and I did some hackathons. And from there, I started working at TQ, and then worked at Interpop, and now I'm at DNS, and I'm also been active in the community, and I've started a few side projects, and I try to help out in the community like where I can.
Perfect. That journey, of course, as you said, has led you becoming an important builder and developer here in the Tezos ecosystem with numerous well-known projects already under your belt. Today, however, we'll be focusing on your work with DNS and Focus.art. I'd like to start out by getting some details about Focus.art. Can you tell us a little bit about the Focus.art platform and its place as you envision it here in the Tezos ecosystem?
Sure. So Focus.art is meant to be a artist and creator-centric and focused platform. I've worked with artists for probably the last year and a half or more, helping them do different jobs. I've collaborated with some. I've helped PFP type projects. And so through my work and working with all of those, it kind of became clear to me that there's not really a good creator-centric platform, and there's not a lot of good tools for them to experiment and do interesting things with their NFTs. So I got the idea to kind of build one focused around that. They'll own their own contracts. The contracts will be pretty interoperable. They'll have a lot of different things they can do, and there'll be different plugins and stuff they can add onto it to allow them to do interesting things around transfers and stuff. So for example, a common one now that's used is burn to redeem, just for example, but it will enable a lot of other things. And so, people seem pretty excited about it. So.
Okay. So based on the work that you had done with artists previously, can you expand a little bit about why you felt like the Tezos ecosystem needed a platform like Focus.art and why this particular concept was a priority for you?
Yeah, sure. So a lot of times artists will be like, I want to do this. And the answer generally is, sure, you can do that, but you need a developer to write you a custom contract, because there's no contracts right now that exist that do that, or there's none that are open source, right? So in some ways, it will kind of be like a no-code platform for artists, right? Where the contract will allow them to do a lot of things, and through the UI, they'll be able to hook things together. And something that previously they would have needed a smart contract dev to help with, they'll just be able to do on their own. by like clicking a few buttons. Right?
Okay. By my understanding, is the concept was developed with the goal of quote unquote a return to focusing on art, hence the name. Can you talk a little bit about where, when, or how you feel like the focus on art was lost in the first place?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So if you remember, um, sorry, excuse me, I have a cold.
No
Um,
worries.
if you remember the early Picket Monk days, right? Um, it was pretty focused on art. It was also, clunky and difficult to use, and people have fond memories of that, right? And over time, marketplaces evolved. Um, and in my opinion, as they evolved towards being focused around collectors, right? Like you go to Object, right? Don't get me wrong, Object is a great platform. I love it. I use it every day, right? But when you go there, the primary user is obviously the collector, right? It's a marketplace, and most marketplaces are like that, and platforms are like that. They're focused on collectors, right? So I wanted to focus on creators, right? A platform made for creators, that the focus is on creators, what they need, the tools they need, the kind of things that they want, right? And not so much focus on like what collectors are looking for. So that's basically what that statement means.
Okay, so what are some of the things that an artist wants or a creator wants that you're going to be focusing on?
Sure. So there's going to be a big focus around self-sovereign contracts. There's going to be a big focus around managing their NFTs and tokens in those, and doing different things around those. Just for example, a lot of artists, they publish something and they're like, "Oh, I made a typo. Now I got to burn and like remint it." So one thing that you could do is like set, say maybe like a 15-minute limit. And when you mint a token, you have 15 minutes to add the metadata, and then after that, the metadata is fixed and can't be changed anymore. You could do things like dynamic metadata. A lot of artists want to explore, dynamic NFTs. Um, the contracts will have a permission system, like a fine grained permission system. So maybe you want to make a collection and you want to let a bunch of other people mint in it. You just add them as minters. Maybe you want to let other people change other things. Like there's other permissions you can give to other people and contracts, which makes kind of the whole thing work. So people will be able to create like non-transferable tokens. They'll be able to create hooks into different things. So if you're familiar with like if this then that, a lot of the system is set up to kind of like work that way, to where like you can mint something and you can say, okay, if this happens, then this other thing happens, or if that happens, then this happens. Um, so the focus is really going to be like around a tool set for them to like manage their tokens. And then there'll be some like primary marketplace contracts to do interesting things. So for example, blind drops, where maybe it's a whole collection and the artist uploads everything and then you mint it, but you don't know what you got. And then it's later revealed what you got, right? Like that kind of thing. Um, and then obviously just like straight primary sales, people will be able to do things like burn and redeem. They'll be able to do like hold, like if you're like a long time collector, then you get special perks, and stuff like that. So it's all about like artists and creators empowering themselves and building their community and interacting with their collectors in like ways that like they maybe can't do on like a traditional marketplace.
Very cool. So, preparing for this chat, I read the Focus.art manifesto that you published earlier this year. There were a couple of interesting points in it that I was hoping to get you to expand on a bit. For the first one being in the free as in freedom section, it reads, "We will not hold admin keys over the contracts. Any admin rights required to bootstrap the protocol contracts will be burned, and the contracts will run forever, adminless and permissionless. You will never be required to trust us. We can never take this platform offline. We can never block anyone accessing it, neither can anyone else. Trustless and censorship resistant. Can you tell us what that philosophy means from a practical standpoint for creators and collectors minting and buying works on Focus.art?
Sure. Sure. So what it means is that it will basically be an open protocol that anybody can use, anybody can build on, and like neither I nor anybody else can decide to like shut it down, right? If I go away, it still runs. It keeps running, right? It doesn't require anybody to do anything, and so it means that if you mint stuff there, right? Especially around the contracts because they're self-sovereign, and you will actually be the admin of your own contracts. It means that you're in control of what happens. And as far as like the other contracts, like, a good example is like the Hiccup Nook, right? It kind of, for those that don't remember, at one point in time, the website went offline, and everybody kind of started to freak out, like what's going to happen to our NFTs, like, oh, where are they going to go or whatever. But then other people rallied around and spun up, mirror sites and stuff because the contracts, you can't stop them, and they didn't require like a admin intervention or anything. The one thing that they did have was they had like a market fee hard coded into the swap contract that went to the hen creator, and nobody could change that. So I want to make sure that all of the contracts for Focused are coded with no fee. Well, I think you're going to hit on this in a minute, but coded with like no fee, so that no matter what, it's just like a free and open system for people to use.
Mm-hmm. Which you talk about in the free as in free section of the manifesto there, where it says that you will never collect any platform or service fees on any transaction, which is, as you said, a different business model than most we've seen in the NFT space up to this point. Why did you make the decision to forgo even like nominal fees for those participating on Focus.art?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So because I want the barrier to entry to be nothing, right? I don't even want there to be a small barrier to entry. I just want people to use it, and more importantly, I want other systems to integrate it with. So I view Focused really as like an open protocol that everybody can come and build on. And if there is like a dev fee there that's required, you'll have people to be like, yeah, but I don't want to pay the fee. Yeah, I'm not sure about it. What happens if he goes away? Where does the fee go to? Like, what is the fee being used for? So I just wanted to avoid all that and just make like a base open platform, right? Now, having said that, obviously it costs stuff to maintain and develop stuff. So I'll be seeking grants, right? Like I got an initial grant to help with the initial development. Creators will be able to optionally donate on their transactions if they want to, potentially, right? That's potentially one model, but we will never enforce or never require any kind of transaction fees or payments on anything for the system.
Okay. So as you just mentioned, and as I mentioned earlier, Focus.art is a recent Tezos Commons Small Grants Program recipient. In your conversations with the folks at TC, what do you think made this an appealing project for that particular organization to help fund?
Yeah, I think it was appealing because there wasn't really anything on Tezos like it at that point. Now Object does allow you to create a contract that you are the owner of, right? But ours are going to allow some more features, and I think there's another platform that may be live now that does similar things. But I think they saw the need for like good creator-focused tools. I think also the fact that it's going to be an open protocol, right? No cost to use. I think that was appealing as well, especially for Tezos Commons to help drive the ecosystem forward. And yeah, everything's going to be open source. So in addition to it being an easy tool to use, it's also going to serve as sort of like, an example of contracts for like new developers or even existing developers in the ecosystem who kind of want to see how you do some of this stuff, or like take the contracts and tweak them a little bit and, do what you need to with them and that kind of thing.
So as a like free to use open source platform, do you see this also functioning as like a gateway / entry point into the Tezos ecosystem with fewer barriers?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, potentially. Yeah, sure. So on ETH, there's a platform called Manifold that's become very popular, right? In some ways, this will kind of be like a Manifold type platform for Tezos. So maybe especially for artists who are familiar with that kind of thing on Ethereum, who come here and they're like, well, I want to do this thing that I can do on Ethereum like very easily. How do I do that on Tezos? Right? This could be one point that people can point them to and be like, well, just go use that. It's very similar, and you can do a lot of the same things. For developers, I think it will provide an entry point. Maybe they're like, well, how do I want to make a custom NFT contract, or like I want to do this thing, but like the existing contracts out there don't let me do that, or maybe there aren't good examples, and so we can point to the code repository and be like, go here and look at this code. It's got a lot of examples. There's a lot of contracts in there that are open source. Pull from those, tweak them, change them how you need to do what you want to do for your project.
Very cool. Can you walk us through the Tezos Commons Small Grants Program application process for people out there who might be thinking of applying for a project of their own? What was that process like?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's very easy. There's I think a form online you go and fill out with the information about your project and what you want to do, and then someone from Tezos Commons reaches out to you, gets more information, and then yeah, there was a little back and forth of discussion, figuring out like what it was, if it was a good fit, and then coming up with a document of like sort of like a development roadmap, I guess, milestones and stuff that you want to do, and then you agree on that, and then they take it and review it internally, and then let you know if it's a good fit or not, and if you're going to get the grant or not, and then it goes from there. So yeah, it's very easy and pretty quick process.
Okay, and now that you've done that process and you've been given the small grant, how else will the folks at TC be supporting you in bringing Focus.art to life besides with money?
Yeah, so they'll do the support through retweets, this podcast, I think some articles potentially, and stuff like that. So they help a little bit on the PR side to get the word out.
Great stuff so far. I'm excited to dive in and learn about the upcoming DNS product launch as well. But before we get into that, are you ready for the world famous TezTalks lightning round?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Just before we do that, I'd like to announce today's keyword for the Tezos branded nano ledger we're giving away today. Today's keyword is !art. Enter the keyword !art in the live stream chat, and Nightbot will randomly select today's winner, who we'll announce before the end of the stream. Okay, now, Josh, it is lightning round time. Remember, there are no wrong answers. This is just for fun, so our viewers can get to know you a little bit better. Are you ready?
Yep.
Beer, wine, or spirits?
Spirits.
Oceans or lakes?
Ocean.
Form or function?
I'll go with form.
Who is your hero?
I'm gonna go with my guitar hero, who is David Gilmour of Pink Floyd.
Nice. Which was / is more fun? Your first appearance on TezTalks Live or your second appearance on TezTalks Live?
Definitely the second.
Right on. Name your least favorite food.
Peas, 100% hands down, peas.
The next place you want to travel is?
Uh, Ireland.
Nice. True or false? Blockchain technology will change the world forever.
True.
And finally, what was your dream job when you were 14?
I wanted to be a record producer.
Very good answer. Excellent answers. This concludes the TezTalks lightning round. Let's get back into it. Now that we've talked about Focus.art a bit, I'd like to learn about your work with DNS. You've recently signed on as VP of Engineering at DNS. I'm wondering if you can speak about why you felt like DNS was the right fit for you at this stage of your career.
Yeah, sure. So I had been doing some contract work for DNS on some various things. And so I got to work with their team a bit, get closer to their team, kind of learn about what they were doing and their visions and stuff. And their visions for what they want are pretty well aligned with my own. Um, we're both of the mindset that we need to focus on creators more than collectors, right? Um, and so, yeah, and then the whole Interpop thing happened, and so I didn't have a job there anymore, and they knew I was looking for work, and they really liked the work I was doing in the ecosystem. We had a lot of conversations, and they really liked where my head was in the space, and the kind of things I was thinking about were a lot of the same things that they were thinking about as well. And so it just made a lot of sense, and yeah, we made it happen.
Right on. We've had an audience queue come through from Kelly, who would like to know, how do you manage your time when working on both DNS and the Focus.art platform?
Sure. The answer is very carefully. So a lot of engineers have this like thing that they need to be like constantly working on stuff. So forever, I've always done side projects for as long as I can remember. So how you manage your time is that DNS is my full-time job, so I'm absolutely dedicated to that every day. Make sure to put the time in there, but then in my off hours, when I get to choose to do what I want to do, much of the time, and a lot of coders have the same experience, you find yourself back at the keyboard, right, and just hacking around on stuff. So in my free time, I split between Crunchy and working on Focused.
Very cool. I understand DNS is currently in the midst of a big product launch with a next-gen creator platform currently being rolled out here in the Tezos ecosystem. How much can you tell us about that product launch and what we can expect to see from the DNS team and this new platform in the days ahead?
Yeah, so right now we've got a waitlist sign-up page up that you can go to DNS.xyz and sign up for the waitlist. And yeah, coming up, we'll start rolling out the platform to beta users. And it's going to be kind of like a creator meets like social. There's going to be a lot of like social features. It's going to be about a good UX and like very easy to use. A lot of what we're trying to do is to help creators like build their community and interact with their community, right? So like you sell a piece on object, right? You can't interact with the person that bought it, right? Not on object. A lot of the interaction happens like on Twitter. So we're trying to kind of take like that experience of like Twitter, Instagram, those kind of platforms, and like roll it into Web3, and also marketplace and stuff as well. So it's really kind of like a Web3 social kind of app. So a little bit a little bit of Lens, a little bit of Twitter, a little bit of Instagram, a little bit of
Mm.
Object, a little bit of all that stuff, all under one house, and really create a place where creators can put their content out and interact with like their collectors and fan base at the same time. There's going to be a new player. So one thing DNS had before that a lot of people liked was the media player, right? We're gonna have that, but like some cool stuff on it. Uh, so yeah, it's gonna be a super awesome experience for everybody.
Sounds pretty great. Does this new DNS DApp have a name?
Yeah, it's just called DNS.xyz.
Makes sense. And aside from interacting and having sort of a social platform where you're bringing together the collectors and the creators, what will artists, musicians, and collectors be able to do with this new DApp?
Yeah, so there'll be the social stuff like post, comment, like, follow people, that kind of stuff. There'll also be the playlist. You'll be able to make playlists, listen to playlists. Artists will also be able to like mint pieces. Traditionally DNS has been a music heavy platform, and we're still going to focus on music, but it's about all art.
Mm.
So they'll be able to mint, kind of have their own contracts, kind of thing. List stuff for sale, and you'll be able to see like in the timeline feed that stuff is for sale. And buy and collect. And so yeah.
Cool. I've heard that users will be able to sign up for that platform using nothing more than their social media accounts. How do you anticipate that will help drive adoption among people who might not be familiar with Tezos or its ecosystem?
Uh, yeah, sure. So, musicians and artists and creators might have an existing, fan base, or people who are interested in what they're doing, but they're like not into crypto. So you just come sign in with Google, Twitter, whatever, and you're good to go. It's like pop you right in the app. You'll get a smart wallet on the back end, which is a non-custodial wallet that's tied to that login that we don't control, and you'll do all of your interactions on the blockchain will be through that smart wallet, but it'll be kind of transparent to you if you're a social user. So the whole point is to make the app as simple and easy to use for the end user. And if we want to get more people in this space, right? Normal people aren't like crypto expert users. They're not gonna necessarily use like a Temple or air gap or something like that, right? They just want to come and use the internet how they're used to using it, especially if it's like a social focused site. They just want to come, they want to post, like stuff, see what's going on, comment on stuff, and have it feel very natural to the platforms that they're used to using.
Okay. So if we can talk a little bit more about those smart wallets, my understanding is they allow users to create a single identity that combines multiple wallets. What are the implications of that particular innovation in terms of how it will impact those building and participating in the larger blockchain space moving forward?
Sure, yeah. So I believe that we have plans at some point to kind of put it out there as like a standard for other people to follow, or like an example. And like you said, the smart wallets can combine multiple keys. So you can have one wallet that you can control with either your Google or your Twitter or your Facebook or your Apple, right? That all have access to sign for that wallet. So the implication here is that a user is more than just one wallet, right?
Mm.
And I think this is something that we all kind of like understand, but it's kind of difficult to solve for. And you'll be able to tie like normal Temple wallets and Kukai wallets and stuff like that to it as well. So it kind of helps with the identity problem a little bit where you can have one identity for like multiple of your wallets, and you don't have to, but like you can. And so, yeah, I think it'll be good because then we won't have the problem if somebody signs with Twitter and like did the thing, and then maybe they're on a different device and they're like, well, I signed in with Google over here and it did like on a different account, right?
Yeah.
We can avoid that kind of stuff, and say, well, okay, you are that Twitter user and you are that Google user and you are this Temple wallet, and no matter which one of those you choose to use on which device, like we see you as like the same identity and same person.
Yeah. It seems like something we've been hearing about from a lot of people that we've been speaking to, where all of these things are sort of geared towards removing these little roadblocks in the way of people kind of entering the ecosystem. So the wait list for the new DNS product is currently being filled out. I've heard your team has partnered with Alec Empire of Atari Teenage Riot fame to help spread the word. How did the partnership between Alec Empire and DNS take shape?
Yeah, sure. So that was through the DNS CEO Shokunin. He's a big fan of Alec, and Alex started exploring music NFTs, I guess. And him and Shokunin started to talk about how they could collaborate, and about like the future of DNS and how it could be a place for where artists like self-publish, they buy, they sell, play, kind of like no record companies involved, kind of nobody taking like their cut, just like you direct to your fans. And so yeah, now Alec he's a big fan of DNS and what we're doing, and a supporter. So yeah, he was happy to help out with the waitlist drop. Super
Right
cool.
on. We've had another audience queue come through from our good friend Kryptonio, who would like to know, what are you the biggest fan of, NFTs or DeFi? Apparently, you have to choose.
I have to choose. Oh man. Oh gosh, that's a tough one. What am I the biggest fan of? I like both a lot. I'm gonna have to maybe go with NFTs today on this, because just because of the creativity they allow, and because in my opinion, like with NFTs, we're just barely like scratching the surface, right? Of like what we can do and what we can accomplish. And I think there's going to be a lot of things coming in the years ahead, not just around like art NFTs, but like once NFTs start to meet like IRL, and we start to put like IRL assets on chain as NFTs. I think that's going to be really interesting and exciting. So on that alone, I'm gonna go with NFTs.
Great answer. So in my readings about the new product and the launch, it seems like the DNS team has set a pretty high bar for itself in terms of user interface and user experience. The stated goal being UI featuring Apple levels of design. Why was maximizing user experience such an important priority for your team on this project?
Yeah, sure. I mean, because it's how you get people to use your app, right, and come back to it, right? Just because we're early in Web3, right, doesn't mean we can't provide great user experiences, right? It's our opinion that it's not really okay if things are clunky, if logins are clunky, if it takes like 5 clicks to do something, if the site is slow, right? Like sometimes people will say, well, we're just early and that's where the space is, and so that's what we have to deal with for now. And
Yeah.
but we're here to delight users, end users, right? And so software has to be accessible. It has to delight users. It's got to be memorable, and this also has to be intuitive to use, right? You have to have great UX. Like if a user goes to your site and they have no idea what's going on or what to do, right? They're not going to use it. And so if we want to bring a lot of people into this space and make them want to be here and come back and keep using it, right? It's super critical that the interface and the UX, it has to be there, and it has to be spot on. Yeah.
Okay. So for those interested in coming and checking it out and being delighted, as you put it, how and where can people join the waitlist?
Sure. Yeah. So you just go to DNS.xyz, and there's a new landing page up, and you just sign up right there for the waitlist. It's a few simple steps that you go through. You claim the username that you're going to want to use on DNS. You'll get the NFT with Alec Empire's work in it. It's
cool.
a video NFT, and then that's it. It'll tell you you're signed up and on the waitlist. So, and we'll be rolling out access to people slowly over the coming month.
Excellent. What has the response to this project been like from the Tezos community so far?
Yeah, it's been really good. We've shown previews to a few different artists. I think Kay Mayfield got a preview of it. He's super excited about it. I think everybody that we've shown is like, yeah, this is awesome. This is great. So yeah, a lot of good excitement. A lot of people interested in it. Yeah, and everybody who's gotten the preview has loved what they've seen. So yeah, signups are rolling in. We've got several on the wait list so far. And yeah, good response on Twitter and everything. So
when will those on the wait list actually get access to the beta?
To be determined. Should be in sometime this month. Yeah.
Okay. What's next for DNS? Are there any other exciting projects or rollouts or announcements in the works?
Other than the new platform, I think that's really the main focus right now. What comes after that? Yeah, we'll see. I can't say too much, but yeah, our focus right now is on this, and there'll be some cool stuff to the new platform. So I think after it rolls out, then we'll be focusing on continuing to build that out, and delighting users with new features and things that they're going to want to do. So.
Sounds great. All right, we're coming to the end here. Before we close off, I'd like to announce the winner of the Tezos branded Nano Ledger we're giving away today. Today's winner is Intriguing Art. Congratulations, Intriguing Art. To claim your prize, just email us at social@tezoscommons.org. We'll request a screenshot for verification that you're the account owner, and then we'll get your shiny new ledger over to you just as quick as we can. For those who missed out today, we remind you that there are awesome giveaways to be found frequently here on the TezTalks live stream, so keep tuning in. If you'd like to get in touch with us, our social media contacts can be found at tezoscommons.org/TezTalks. We'd love to hear from you. Josh, thanks so much for joining us today. It's always awesome to speak to the folks developing cool and innovative projects like these here in the Tezos ecosystem and keeping Tezos at the forefront of the Web3 revolution. Is there anything else you'd like to mention or plug before we sign off here?
No, I think that's everything. Just, make sure to go to DNS.xyz and claim your username and get on the waitlist.
Sounds good to me. To everyone out there in Tezos land, thanks for joining us on the TezTalks live stream. I'm Stu from the Tezos Commons, and our awesome guest has been Josh Dechant, founder of Focus.art and Crunchy, and now VP of Engineering at DNS. Now let's go craft some code.